Anderson, and we are live in the hall at the Georgia Municipal Association's annual convention. With me is my cohort and colleague, Lou Comer.
Hi, I'm Lou Comer, and I'm with GMA too, and just glad to be here at convention this year. I just drove in from Atlanta and got over here real quickly and made it over to the exhibit hall.
And we're going to spend the next hour and a half meeting some of the people here in the exhibit hall. Aileen, you're going to be out and about on the floor.
We have lots and lots of great vendors, and I'm going to speak with some of them about all the wonderful products and services they offer Georgia cities.
Awesome. Yolande, you are the person who makes all of this happen here in the exhibit hall, and it comes together amazingly well. So you're obviously doing a really good job of making all of this happen. How many exhibitors do we have this year?
This year we have 190.
And what kind of services do they provide?
Our vendors provide any service that it takes to make a municipality run, from water and sewer, engineering, playground equipment, fire protection, fire trucks, you name it, it's here.
It's pretty amazing to see, like, the big fire truck at the back of the room, and it's like, oh my God, that's so pretty, so shiny. But just the whole different array of services. I mean, some of them are very professional services, like municipal code and that type of thing, and others are actual products. And how long have we been having exhibitors at the GMA convention? Do you know the number of years?
I think we've had them for 35 or 36 years.
Yeah.
We have one vendor here, Consolidated Disposal, that has not missed a show since the GMA started having exhibitors at the conference.
That's pretty amazing. That's quite a track record. Aileen, what are some of the folks you have lined up for us today?
Well, I have Polygon, and they help cities prepare for disasters. So we all know about extreme weather, so they can help you get ready for that. Mm-hmm. We have
Georgia is not immune to bad weather,
floods, hurricanes.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Savannah and its hurricane preparation. We have Safe Built, and we have Precision Planning, and they just finished City Hall in Sugar Hill, so we're going to talk about that. So just and some companies that are new and some innovative products. So.
Oh, very cool. Well, we look forward to hearing your reports. I know you probably need to get out and
I do.
Go get ready for some of those, but we want to talk kind of quickly about this show that we do. This is, I think, our third year of doing Live in the Hall.
Yeah,
is that
third year?
And we certainly appreciate the folks from Douglasville City TV who make this happen, and we appreciate those of you who may be watching from the internet at home and couldn't come to Savannah for the meeting, but maybe hopefully are catching some of what we're doing here today. Yolande, I know you've got some exhibitors who probably need you as well, but we want to tell them how much we appreciate them being here, because their support of GMA makes our convention happen as well. So please pass along our thanks to them as well.
Yeah.
That I will.
And before you get out of here, Yolande, let's talk about this apron you have on.
Is that not the most awesome apron ever?
We relish our cities.
We definitely do at GMA. I think my favorite line there is "on a roll since 1933," which is, of course, the year we were founded. This is part of the delegate gift pack that goes out, and everything in the delegate gift pack is a made in Georgia product. So the apron is, I don't remember the company that makes it, but they're here in Georgia, as is everything that we give out. We really want to support our Georgia companies.
And our exhibitors received a cup of goodies of items that were made in Georgia as well.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you for being with us, and tell them very much how much we appreciate them as well.
And keep up the good work with all those exhibitors.
We're going to have a whole different group of folks to talk to today. We're going to talk about some of the new laws that are going to be going into effect. It's starting in July. The big one, of course, has been the gun bill. And we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about some of the things that are happening at convention, and some of the new things, Lou, that you've been heading up at GMA with some of the services and all that. So we've got a great program, great lineup today, and if you are here at the Trade Center, stop by, stand behind us and wave. That's always fun. And we will be back in just a second. We're going to check in with Aileen and see some of the new, meet some of our exhibitors today.
Aileen again. I'm live in the hall. Right now I'm standing with Chris Hagan from Advanced Disposal. Chris, you are clean and green. Tell us what that means.
Yeah, we are Clean and Green. We are a fully integrated solid waste collection service that services about 250,000 commercial customers, about 2.5, almost 2.5 residential customers. But one thing we really focus on is being clean and green, like you said, and really focusing on the environment and using our services to collect the solid waste and really focusing on the environment and protecting it at the same time. And that's why we brought EcoMan with us.
Hey, EcoMan.
To remind everybody how important it is to really focus on the environment. And he's walking around telling everybody about Advanced Disposal and how clean and green we are.
So you guys do trash and recycling?
Correct. We do trash and recycling. And you know, a lot of municipalities now are moving towards recycling more and meeting these higher goals set by the state for more recycling. So.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you, EcoMan. And we're going to move on to our next vendor. Come on and follow me. So we're going to see if some of our vendors up here are ready to talk to us. We're here with Trey from WK Dixon. Tell me about WK Dixon.
WK Dixon's a community infrastructure consulting firm. We help clients, communities throughout the state of Georgia with designing and projects of water and wastewater, stormwater improvements, aviation, and other parks and recreation type improvements that they may have.
So how long have you been coming to the GMA convention?
I believe we've been here for at least 15 years now. Mm-hmm.
So any city projects you've worked on recently you can tell us about?
We're doing quite a few projects throughout the state, from Columbus to Augusta in the Atlanta region, some of them down in the Savannah area. And we've done some streetscape projects and parks and recreation projects right here in Savannah that we're very happy with and very proud of. And we've got a lot of municipal water and wastewater business throughout the state.
Well, thank you for being here. And make sure you come and see Trey and the folks here at WK Dixon. We're going to send it back to Amy.
And welcome back to Live in the Hall. Lou and I are going to visit here with Teresa Bolden, who is the city clerk from the city of Valdosta and also serves as the president of the Georgia, is it Municipal Finance? No, just Municipal Clerks and Finance Officers Association. I know it as GMC FOA. You know, I know the letters, and it's what they all stand for where I get stuck. Teresa, tell us a little bit about the organization. Who are members of this organization?
Well, our organization was formed in 1970 through the efforts of Georgia Municipal Association and Carl Vinson Institute of Government and the Georgia Municipal Clerks and Finance Officers Association in order to help promote training efforts for our clerks and our finance officers in our municipalities. We offer a lot of different programs for our members. We have mentoring programs. We promote our education programs. We also are working on some new initiatives this year, such as a new municipal clerk handbook, which will greatly help our new clerks as they come into the profession.
Because it is such a, I mean, to me, having visited with a lot of city clerks around the state, they are, you know, you guys do so much and such a variety of duties from place to place, depending on the size and complexity of the municipality. So that's got to be difficult when you're coming in as a new clerk.
And Amy, a lot of cities only have one employee who is their city clerk. And that person is doing everything from human resources work to finance work to making sure if they have a water system that things are going right with that. So it's a big variety of duties.
You're right about that, and you know, it's kind of funny because when I became a city clerk, I always thought that every city clerk had the same responsibilities, and lo and behold, I found out very quickly that our clerks in the smaller communities, they have to know everything about everything in their community.
Yes.
And so we tried to provide educational training to help promote their skills and their knowledge in areas that they have to deal with on a daily basis.
Go ahead,
And I was just going to say, for those city clerks in those small cities, it's really difficult for them to get to training because they have to close City Hall down. So are y'all looking to address that in some way?
We are. We have actually been talking about maybe doing some online training courses. We're also thinking about maybe moving some of our training to different parts of the state because it is very hard for some of these clerks in the smaller towns to get away. So we're thinking if we could move to some different locations other than Athens, that we could draw more of the clerks into our training.
And can you tell us fairly concisely, why is training so important? Why is that something that the association is very active in?
Well, in order
encouraging?
for these clerks to perform their jobs to the best of their abilities, they have to have the education and training that they need in order to provide these skills to the citizens in their communities. And the only way that they can get that is through educational training with GMA and Carl Vinson Institute of Government.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize how important the city clerk is to the operation of the city. And many times the city clerk is charged with keeping all the records of the city, maintain the city's finances, and those are pretty key components, and you really need a lot of training to make sure you're up to understand the current rules, because you can get yourself and your city in trouble if you don't know all those rules.
That's true. And you know, our association, we work towards different types of certificate programs. We have a certificate of completion offered for clerks who have over 100 hours of training. We also have a new Masters of Education program and a new program we call MEGS that are for the clerks that have finished their certificate and the Masters, and now we have one further level of training. The clerks can also join the International Institute of Municipal Clerks Association. They also offer training through annual conferences and through regional conferences, and so that's an additional...
So there's continuing opportunities to learn. Because I think one of the things that always gets me, and you know, I've been with GMA now for 16 years, is there's always more to learn. You'll never know all there is to know about city government, and that's got to be very true as a city clerk.
It
doing
is.
The hands-on
You're
part of
right.
it.
And you know, with the legislation changing every year, and a lot of it affects the municipal clerks and finance officers, so we have to really stay on top of the issues that are coming to the forefront, and we need to be very knowledgeable because a lot of times it affects how the city clerks and finance officers do their jobs. So it's important that we are able to provide information to these clerks and finance officers about changing legislation.
Can we talk a little bit about the manual that we're going to start working on? I know my colleague Pam Helton's going to be very involved in that effort, and I think y'all appointed a committee. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. We are actually going to be meeting in July. We have a committee put together that consists of clerks from smaller communities, medium-sized communities, and larger communities. We also have municipal clerks as well as deputy or assistant clerks who are going to serve on this committee because you need a variety of people who can share their experiences with their communities so that we can actually make sure that we have everything covered in this clerk manual, because what we want it to do is to be able for them to use it as a tool whenever they are first coming into their position as a municipal clerk or finance officer. Sometimes it's very scary to reach out to people that you might not know, but this would be a great tool that we could put on our website, and it would contain everything that we hope a clerk would need to know.
And when do you anticipate that manual will be finished?
Well, we're just getting started right now, so I would think within the next 6 months to a year we'll have everything worked out and we'll be able to offer that to these clerks.
I understand it is, the time involved. It's going to be, on top of all your other duties.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And also, Amy, there's going to be a number of people from GMA involved in this as well, because our legal department will be involved. Of course, Pam's going to be very involved. I'll probably be involved. And just some other people to make sure that we're covering everything, and we want to get this online and have it searchable. And I can really see this as a resource not just to clerks but to really anyone who's new to the city, even elected officials, frankly.
That's true. That's true. I'm really excited about this clerk manual.
Are all of the clerks, city clerks in Georgia, members of the organization?
Not all clerks are members of our organization. Some of the smaller municipalities may not have the funds for their clerk to join our organization. We certainly encourage them to join because we have a lot of networking opportunities. But it's not a requirement.
And I know, in fact, you guys are having a meeting tomorrow. You have an annual clerks meeting
We do.
tomorrow morning.
We have our clerks breakfast and summer board meeting tomorrow. I will say that in order for a clerk to get their certificate of completion through Carl Vinson, they have to be a member. Up until that point, they don't necessarily have to join, but if they want that certificate, they'll have to be a member.
It really, to me, makes financial sense, even for the small cities, to have a clerk who is a member of the organization, because it just provides this whole network of knowledge and resources to that one person that can really help that city.
Right. And you know, our vision statement or mission statement is to promote integrity and excellence to our clerks or through our clerks by offering them educational and professional development opportunities. And we also want to strengthen and support our membership as well as enhance our image as a city clerk or a finance officer.
Well, and I know I've been so impressed, and it was many times being in a city hall and a question comes up and the city clerk will pick up the phone and call another city clerk. You know, that you guys really have this really strong network and can pick up the phone and bounce ideas off each other. And I know that that's one of the unspoken, I think, added benefits of being part of the association.
That's true. We also have district directors, and we encourage them to hold meetings with clerks in their districts, and it's just a great networking opportunity. We also have people who come and speak to their district meetings, and it's just a great way to get to know clerks in different cities in your area.
Yeah. And Amy, I don't know if you and Teresa know this, but early in my career, I served as the assistant city clerk in the city of Rome. I served under Branson Gaylor, who was just an icon in the organization. And I remember going to Athens the first time for those classes, and just the camaraderie amongst all the clerks at that time was really quite impressive, I thought.
Nice to be part of the family.
Yeah, it was. And interestingly, that's how I met Pam. Back at that time, they didn't have enough hotel rooms at the center. So Pam and I, not really even knowing one another, ended up sharing a room.
That's
And
great.
here we are, working for the Georgia Municipal
ever thought?
Association.
That's so great. Well, Teresa, thank you so much for being with us here today. I hope your meeting goes well tomorrow, and we look forward to the manual and working
Great.
with
Thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here today, and I look forward to working with you guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Aileen, who have you got lined up for us next?
Hi, it's Aileen again, live in the hall. Right now, I'm standing with Kevin Strauss from IQM2. Kevin, tell us about your meeting management software.
So we've been working with the GMA for about 3-4 years now, currently servicing 25 to 30 cities in Georgia. Essentially, we provide software that has everything to do with the city council meetings. So we're cutting down on staff time that it takes to create the agendas and the minutes.
And paper.
And most importantly as well, paper. So we're taking councils of 7 people that we're printing out 300 to 2,000 page packets and giving them all to them electronically on iPads and other electronic devices.
And how does that help with citizen access to documents?
It's a great question. So part of the program is a fully searchable database of all your agenda and meeting documents that are online for the public and for the board members. So citizens can now go on the website that will provide the city, type in a keyword just like they were searching on Google, and find anything that's meeting related. One thing on top of that that's cool, we don't even have to be just working with the city. So if we worked with you for a year, you'll actually, when you start working with us, take all your old documents, we'll import them in and make them searchable as well. So it's not just for the time that...
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's not just the time we're working together. We can actually kind of cover the city's entire history.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Kevin. Make sure you come and see him and learn how your city can save time and cut paper costs. So we're going to turn right over to Jeb and Megan. And they're with Auction Management Company. Tell us, what type of assets do you auction?
We auction every type of asset, primarily real estate. We go all over the country selling commercial real estate, land, lots, you name it, houses, investment property, anything.
So tell me how you can help cities.
That's a good question. A lot of cities, when they have excess property they've acquired, they'll put it out for bid. And the cities are great at running cities, but what our specialty is marketing and getting the word out. That's what we do. We market these properties in a very aggressive way, so we'll typically get 25, 30% higher than the city can get. And the beautiful thing about it is it ends up costing the city nothing. It's a very quick process. We use what's called the buyer's premium. The buyers pay the commission and the expenses, and the city comes out 30 days later with their property sold.
That's really super. Great service for cities. And Megan, I heard you know how to give us an example of what an auction sounds like.
Can I take the mic from you? Sure. So when you're up on the stage and you're as an auctioneer and you're offering a property or any type of liquid asset, then we do what's called a bid call. So I'm going to do a little bid call for you, and I think I'm going to start off by auctioning off my fine father here. And I don't know, I think we should start off at a very reasonable price, maybe $25. What do you think? How does that sound?
Let's find out.
Well, that's about where my allowance started every week, so I think we'll start at $25. So I'm going to start the bidding at $25. I'm bid $25. Can I bid 30? I'm at 25. You bid 30. You bid 30. Bid 30. I'm bid 30 now. Thank you. Would you bid 35? I'm at 35. Now would you bid 40? Would you bid 40? Bid 40. All right. I'm bid 40 now. Would you bid 45? I'm bid 45 now. Would you bid 50? I'm bid 50 now. Would you bid 55? I'm bid 50 now. Would you bid 100? Going all the way up $50. $50 now. Would you bid 100? I'm bid 50 now. Would you bid 100? Would you bid 100? I'm bid 100 now. Would you bid 150? I'm bid 100 now. Would you bid 150? 150? 150? 150? All right. I'm bid 150 now. Would you bid 2? And sold to the lady in the back for $200. Wait, that's not my mom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too, for being here. Make sure you go by Auction Management's booth and give Megan and Jeb a few minutes of your time. Back to you, Amy and Lou.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aileen. That was some pretty awesome fast talking. I haven't heard talking that fast since my daughter stayed out late past her curfew. We are joined now by Rushi Patel, who is Associate General Counsel for Georgia Municipal Association and our leading expert on House Bill 60, which to many people is known as the gun bill. Big changes coming, Rushi, with that on July 1st, correct?
Correct. So the law is not effective yet, but it will be effective in about 2 weeks now, July 1st, 2014. And there are some major changes to the Georgia law in relation to city government as to what we can and can't do in cities.
What are some of the biggest changes?
The biggest change that I've seen for city governments is how government buildings are treated. So previously, government buildings did not have weapons allowed in them, any weapons. So guns, knives, which included handguns or long guns like shotguns. So the change in the law now, starting July 1st, is going to be weapons, which are handguns and knives, will be allowed in government buildings unless the government building is secured by security personnel.
So a government, for example, that doesn't want people coming into, say, a recreational center, in order to prevent weapons from coming in, they have to have some kind of security.
Correct. So in order to prevent weapons from coming into that recreation facility, the city would have to post security personnel at the entrances, the public entrances, and check for or screen or restrict as people come in.
But they can also have the option of they just let anybody in. So
correct. So if the city decides that they can't afford to pay for security personnel, or if they just want to allow weapons into those buildings, they can just say we're not going to post security personnel and weapons are allowed in.
Rushi, I've heard a lot of people that I deal with have a lot of questions about this, and it seems like there's a great deal of confusion as well as to what you can do, you can't do. And I think you've recorded some presentations we have available on the website that people can listen to.
We have, and we've also sent that out to mayors, council members, city attorneys, police chiefs, managers, and clerks. And the recorded information comes in a 3-part webinar. And we've split it up into basically what existing laws are currently as the first part. The second part talks about government buildings. And then the third part talks about courthouses, commercial service airports, polling places, schools, and some kind of a catch-all part.
Okay. Because I think one of the big questions has been about, our city hall has a court, we hold court in our city hall.
Right.
Can we restrict guns from coming in?
And so that's actually a really complicated question in the new state law. And so the law has a definition.
What, you mean the state law isn't just simply yes or no?
Right. It's amazing, isn't it? So new state law actually relies on old definitions, and the old definitions have a definition for courthouse and a different definition for government building. The definition for courthouse is actually really straightforward and simple. It's basically any building in which judicial proceedings or judicial rooms are held. Okay.
And that can be a city hall in that case.
And it could be a city hall in that case if the municipal court happens to be held in City Hall.
And in many cases it is.
And in many cases it is. So what ends up happening is you might have a municipal court in a building that also has other city departments in that building. Government building, however, is defined in a more narrow fashion. And the government building is defined as a building where the public entity is housed. But then it goes on to say, like, if a city is renting a private building or renting part of a private building, it's only that part of the building. Or if they're in a private building and they only have a meeting in that private building from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Can you give us kind of an example of what kind of facility that would be that's a private building that they're renting?
Sure. Many of our newer cities actually rent out
that's a good one.
floors in office complex. So they might have the 5th floor of ABC Towers. And so what the way the law reads is the government building isn't the entire ABC Towers.
It's just
it's
those
the 5th
floors.
floor.
Okay.
Or some of our new cities might actually have a meeting in a private building only from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And so the way that the law reads is that's only a government building from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So government building is actually defined narrowly, whereas courthouse is defined broadly as the entire building. And the important note I keep making to folks is a courthouse is always going to be a government building, whether or not it shares space or not.
Right.
Because the courthouse does actually house a body of the government.
Right.
Municipal court in our case. So while a courthouse is always a government building's not necessarily always a courthouse.
Right.
So there's a distinction.
So make sure I understand this. A lot of cities hold municipal court maybe only one day a week.
Correct.
But as long as you're holding the court that one day a week in City Hall, you're always a courthouse?
Well, and what I've been suggesting to folks is that they need to talk to their city attorney about how to approach this. And if you're going to say that that building is a courthouse, you better have court in that building, first of all. And if you're going to have calling it a courthouse, if you're going to call it a courthouse, you should probably have court at a consistent manner, like every week or every other week, whatever your court cycle is. You shouldn't say, oh, we had court in that building once this year, so that's a courthouse.
Right.
You're probably going to run into trouble if you do that. But cities should talk to their city attorney about the definition of courthouse, the definition of government building, and how weapons are treated at each building.
What if you just accept police fines in your City Hall? Like you're the intake point for people paying their fines. Does that qualify you as a courthouse?
If the city is just accepting the police fines, I don't think that that's going to fall into that definition of courthouse, because it's talking about judicial proceedings being held and judicial rooms in that building. And I don't think those are judicial rooms or judicial proceedings. I think that might be just considered an intake.
Are there other areas of the law that you've been getting questions on that you maybe frequently asked questions?
Yeah, the most common question actually has been, can we just post signs to prohibit weapons in this building? And the answer to that is just simply no. You cannot just post.
It has to be some more formalized form of security.
Right, there has to be actual security personnel if you're going to prohibit weapons in that government building. So you can't just slap a sign up and say no guns allowed and then do nothing else.
Right.
You actually have to post guys there.
And security, does that necessarily mean it has to be a police officer standing there?
Right, and that's the second most common
Okay.
question is what does it mean by security personnel? And the law actually says security personnel. It doesn't say post-certified
Okay.
police officer. What it does say, however, is if a license holder wants to, or if a license holder attempts to bring a weapon into a government building that's been restricted, the only time he can be charged or she can be charged with a misdemeanor is if at least one member of that security personnel is a certified peace officer. So that's an important distinction.
Okay.
Another distinction that people need to know that I'm not sure if I've made yet is if you don't have security at your government building, only license holders are technically allowed into that building. People
Right.
that do not have a Georgia weapons carry license cannot bring it into that building.
Right. But you can't ask them if somebody walks in with a gun, or you can't say, oh, do you have a permit for that?
Well,
they
you can ask them.
Okay.
They don't actually have to answer you.
Okay.
And
you
you certainly
can't
can't detain them. You can't stop them.
Okay.
So.
When you said they had to have security, that means maybe just a security officer, or do you have to have some kind of screening like many of us are familiar with in some buildings we go in?
That is a great question. And the law only says you have to have security personnel. It does not say you have to buy metal detectors. It doesn't say you have to pat everybody down. It just says ingress is restricted or screened by security personnel. And as to what that means, that's a good question.
So maybe I could be a security personnel.
You look like one.
We'll get you a cape and a sword and the trash can lid, and you're ready to go.
Like Econo Man over here.
We really like that one. That's great. Rishi, what do you anticipate after July 1st? What do you think is going to happen with a lot of our cities? Have you heard from them as to kind of maybe what most cities are doing or anything like that?
Well, I can't speak to what most cities are doing. I can tell that a lot of cities have inquired as to what they are going to need to do, and a lot of cities have used the resources available to them, which is good. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that means come July 1st, we're not going to see cities getting into trouble with accidental violations of this new law.
Right.
Now, do I believe that that's actually going to happen? I'll wait to see. Because we have a lot of cities and a lot of different situations arise, and honestly, this is the kind of law that people like to test.
And do you anticipate that there may be parts of this law that actually courts are going to be making rulings on at some point in the future, making decisions about like, well, this is what this really means, or that type of thing?
I would honestly be very surprised if courts didn't have to make some decisions as to certain parts of this law, because there are certain parts of this law, for instance, that courthouse government building thing, that might end up getting litigated, which is why, again, it's important, if you have that question, talk to your city attorney.
Right. Always talk to your city attorney before.
And importantly, I am not your city attorney.
That's right.
But the city attorney can call you to get more clarification on the law, so you can have attorney to attorney speaking about issues.
Yes, and I'll be glad to talk to your city attorneys.
And to be clear, I know GMA throughout the process of the legislation, we were opposed to this legislation, but what was our main concern as far as
our main concern with this legislation was local control, and it's that simple. Is we wanted to have the ability, and it's actually been a GMA policy for a long time, to have the city council in each city be able to decide for themselves whether or not weapons can be allowed into what buildings. So we wanted local control. It had nothing to do with being pro-gun or anti-gun. It was simply, we want local control, and we fight for local control on a wide array of issues.
Yeah. Well, Rishi, thank you so much, and we'll again guide people to the website to see the webinars that you have done, and I think there's some printed material up there as well that they can look at. But always, 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 before making any big decisions like this, talk to your city attorney. That's money well spent if they can keep you out of trouble. So thank you again, Rishi. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Aileen, back to you.
Hi, it's Aileen again. I'm still live from the hall, and I'm standing here with Dan Clark from the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. And you guys have a great low-interest loan initiative for cities. Tell us more about that.
We do. Characteristically, GFA has been working very closely with cities and counties across the state as they work to upgrade their water and sewer facilities. We also have some great interest rates for projects that have a conservation component, where either energy or water will be saved in the process that will be built through the funds that communities borrow from us.
Give us an example of what types of projects that cities could qualify with for the loan.
Thanks for asking. I just had a great conversation with Mayor Twitty from the city of Camilla today, and he was talking about how some infrastructure investments that were made 15 and 20 years ago using GFA's low interest rate financing was able to help build the infrastructure needed to serve an industry that provided a lot of jobs in Camilla. And we talked about how since that time, GFA has been available to help finance other water and wastewater infrastructure to serve the public and the growth that occurred as a result of the jobs being created by that initial investment in that industry. So we're very pleased to hear stories like that.
And so what other resources are you offering cities right now?
We have energy programs in which communities, if they have an interest in reducing the energy consumption in the properties that they own, they manage. We've got a tremendous amount of experience through our own work with city-owned facilities and energy performance contracting, where improvements can be made to a building or a number of buildings, and the savings that will be enjoyed by virtue of conserving the water and energy can actually pay for those improvements that would be made to make that possible.
Well, thank you so much for being here at the GMA convention. If your city needs help improving your infrastructure, make sure you come over and see Dan and the folks at GFA. So now we're going to move over here and talk to Lon Trent with Kia Motors. And Lon, this is your first time at the GMA convention, correct?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
So what brings you to our great convention this year?
Well, we opened our plant at in West Point, Georgia, so it's good to expose our products and services in the state of Georgia. So we have our contract with a statewide contract, so we figure that we can open up our market expansion through other associations such as GMA.
So cities looking to purchase new fleets of cars may want to consider Kia.
Absolutely, yes. We would love to offer the products, and we provide incentives, great pricing, so just contact us and we'll be glad to assist on that area.
And who did you bring with you?
Well, here's my friend here, the Ham Star, and he is promoted through the commercial with the applause of Lady Gaga for the Kia Soul. So yes, he's a celebrity. I'm not, unfortunately, but he makes me shine with him.
Well, if you want to learn more about Kia, come and check out Lon and her Ham Star right here on the floor at the GMA exhibit hall. We're going to send it back to Amy and Lou.
Thanks, Aileen. And if you're just joining us, I'm Amy Henderson, and I'm here with Lou Comer. We're both with GMA, and we are doing Live in the Hall at the GMA Annual Convention. And if you're at home watching us, hi. Wish you were here. We miss you. It's always a great time at the annual convention. I say it's part family reunion and a great learning opportunity. And part of our family is Dan Beck, who is with the Local Government Risk Management Services, LGRMS, which is a joint operation of ACCG, the County Commission Association, and GMA. So anybody who says that GMA and ACCG can't get along, cities and counties can't get along, this is proof that that is not true. This is a long-standing partnership that has worked very well.
When it comes to saving money and insurance, people can get
exactly.
along together.
We all want to do that. Dan, tell us a little bit about what LGRMS does.
First of all, what part of the family do you think? What are we, the stepchildren of the organization?
No, not stepchildren. And certainly not the redheaded stepchild.
No. We're proud to be a part of the family of both ACC and GMA, and we provide loss control services. So that would range from audits, surveys of individual members, counties, and cities. And then we do training for them, both regional, on-site, and a variety of other training methods, provide online training for them. I'm really trying to educate them, plan, and assist them in prioritizing action plans to reduce risks on whether it's workers' compensation insurance or property and liability insurance. And then we have a health promotion service team that really focuses on reducing individual risks to health to the employees of either county employees or city employees.
And I think that's really important. Of course, we should note that your services are available to the cities and counties that are members of the risk programs, the insurance programs, either through GMA or ACCG. So you guys take a very proactive stance. And I think one of the things that always strikes me is how how many field reps do you have?
We have a 14-member team. We have 4 loss control field reps. We have 3 health promotion field reps, and then we have 3 public safety risk consultants. which do driving simulation training and really focus on public safety, so law enforcement, firefighting, other public safety services.
And those folks, having talked to them, I know last year was the 25th anniversary of LGRMS, and talked to a number of the folks who've been there for a long time. It strikes me how very passionate they are about what they do, and it's, you know, you see when they talk about making city employees safe and keeping them healthy, that it's very much a personal thing to them.
Oh, again, we're very lucky, very blessed with a job that is really a mission from God to help save lives and livelihoods of our members. And if we can go in and make a difference and save a life, or save funds that might help save a job within a community, it should motivate anybody to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about the grant program that y'all have. I know I get the honor of taking the big check out a lot of times to
People
cities.
love the big check.
They love to see me come in with the big check. They like the little one they put in the bank too, but they really love that big check. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, again, this has started multiple years ago, and really trying to encourage people to participate in some of our programs. So we've set some fairly low-level expectations regarding program expectations, so that each city will have a safety team. They'll provide safety training. They'll do inspections. They'll have programs to address different things. They'll be supported by the leadership within that particular organization. At that point in time, they'll put in a request for different pieces of equipment that might be safety related. So we have two grants.
Like some breathing apparatus type
It might
stuff.
be if for a lot of personal protective equipment could be work comp related. So you might have SCBAs or respirators or gloves or AEDs that might be workers' compensation related. But we also provide a grant for our property and liability team that provides cameras for police cars, or nets within playgrounds to prevent people from getting hit by foul balls.
So there's a lot of things that would fall into the category, and then they get reimbursed for that. Is that
they
how this
purchase
works?
it, and we provide 100% reimbursement on that equipment.
And I think that's really important to note. 100% reimbursement. It's not a matching grant.
Yeah, and
this is free money if you're in these programs.
Up to $6,000 for both workers' compensation and property and liability.
So you could end up with a total of $12,000.
And many people do.
That's awesome.
I know I work a lot with the cities in District 1, which is Northwest Georgia. And one of my cities, I get to visit them, it seems like almost 3 times a year with these checks.
Yeah, they've probably got it very well programmed to get this, to apply for these grants. And how do you apply? What is the process?
Again, we have applications. It's online. We have paper applications. You can call me. You can email me at dbeck@gma.com, and I'll send you an application. But it's very easy. We'll walk you through things. We have many people that do it for the first time. They might seem to be a little bit overwhelming, but I'll walk you through. We'll hold your hand as you go through the process, so there's nothing to be concerned about. It's a great process, and it's really to the benefit of some of these smaller organizations, some of these smaller cities that don't have resources for very much.
And it seems to me that you guys are doing a really good job with getting the wellness program started around the state, and I know that's been a big issue. You look at like firefighters have one of the highest, I believe, heart attack rates of any profession, and the work that the wellness programs are doing to help them.
We have grants on the wellness side also, and again, trying to encourage people. We've really tried to revamp our wellness focus this year, and looking to see from a best practice perspective where we fit compared to other organizations, Coca-Cola, other warehouse, or other people that do what they would call best practice programs. And the difference between us and any organizations, how you would measure somebody that's doing best practice, is really engagement. So it's how do we get those people that are sedentary, that aren't engaged in the process, really just caring about their own health.
Right.
Again, firefighters, law enforcement, historically speaking, are kind of opposed to those things. They don't really think of that. So how do we engage those parts of the organization, get them up and moving, worried about their health, going to see a doctor on an annual basis, eating properly, all those things we're attempting to do.
It seems kind of ironic in a way that the people that are, they are very much about public safety. And even, you think about the city employees who are working in public works and, get into these tight spots, and they're very, conscious of the danger that they're putting themselves in. Don't think about the danger of being sedentary to themselves as well.
Again, as they say, sitting is the new smoking, so we should really be standing while we're doing these interviews.
Yeah, if you could tell Lamar, I really want one of those desks where I can walk, and that
there you
would
go.
I really want one of those treadmill
That's what
desks.
it's all about. Again, office workers at risk a lot, sitting down all the time. Police officers that constantly just drive around and patrol all the time and might get out. Have them walk a beat. Mm-hmm. Have them bicycle around the town. Whatever they can do to get more active.
I would
you
like
have
a
that
pony.
Availability. What's that?
I want a pony.
There you go. Well, I don't think pony operation is considering walking. It's exercise for the horse, but not for the individual.
Dan, I have a question for you in terms of who you reach at the city. Do y'all work primarily with the staff members of the city, or do you ever get involved with the elected officials?
It really depends on the city organization. At some point in time, a lot of city clerks we're dealing with, HR departments historically we're dealing with. We're trying to reach out more to the leadership because we can do everything we want to do. We can have tremendous programs. We can have tremendous training. If leadership is not actively engaged and telling people this is important, we're not going to get it done. If they don't set a goal to say internally, we're going to have 80% participation in our health promotions team, it's never going to happen.
Right.
If they don't set a goal, we're not going to have anybody hurt. It's not going to happen. So it needs to be a priority to not only the elected officials, but the department heads, whether it's the chief of police or the department of roads or it's the head of the office, whoever it might be. They need to say, hey, this is important. This is how we reduce risk within our organization.
And raise it as a priority. And it's, it saves lives. It saves money. It just seems like it's such an important thing to do.
It saves lives, it saves money, and ultimately speaking, a place with a sound safety and health process is a place that's going to have a better morale. It's going to be more productive. It's going to be better with the public. It's overall, it's the only way to go.
Yeah. Well, Dan, thank you so much for being with us. And we hope that more folks will be giving you a call and talking to some of your field reps about how they can make their workplaces healthier, safer places, and of course get that free money from the safety grants and the workers' comp grants and the wellness grants.
Sometimes you have to give bad news, but when you're giving away free money, I've never met people that are really angry with you when you're giving them a check.
Yeah, they always love to see me come in with a big
great.
check.
Yeah, keep those big checks coming. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
And we're going to go back out to Aileen on the exhibit hall floor.
Hi, Aileen again, live from the GMA exhibit hall, and I'm standing here with Matt Hicks from Grady Healthcare. Matt, you're a first-timer here. Tell us what brings you to the GMA convention this year.
Well, we're really happy to be here. Grady is the state's largest hospital. We're one of the largest hospitals in the Southeast, and we just wanted folks to learn more about us.
And I know you have 600,000 visits a year. Tell us some more about Grady.
We do. So we are located in Atlanta, but we have a statewide presence. We treat patients from every county in the state each year. We run one of the 2 burn centers in Georgia, the Poison Control Center we operate. So if you call the Poison Control Center from anywhere in Georgia, you're actually calling Grady Health System. And we train approximately 1 in 4 doctors that work here in the state. So we have an impact on everyone here.
And you're also sponsoring something here at the exhibit hall as well?
Well, we love our local officials, and we have strong relationships with our 2 counties and the city of Atlanta. But what we're also doing here is we've got 3 Grady nurses that are doing blood pressure, blood glucose, and stroke screenings for any of the attendees here.
That's fabulous. Make sure you come see Matt. And Matt, you guys are also working on your EMS business. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, thanks for asking about that. It's our expertise. It's one of the things that we do really well, and so we're growing our EMS outside of, right now we operate in the city of Atlanta, respond to more than 125,000 911 calls each year. We just were awarded the contract in Decatur County, and we'll be working and running Decatur County EMS, and we want to grow that around the state.
And tell us how everyone can get in touch with you.
Yep, if people are interested in learning more, we can visit our website at gradyhealth.org.
All right, thank you so much for being here, and this is your first time. We hope to see you back many more years. All right, thank you. So we're going to walk right over here and talk to Barry Hawkins from Polygon. And tell us about what Polygon does for cities.
Polygon is a disaster restoration emergency response company. And what we do for cities is we can come in and do an emergency preparedness program / plan in case you have in the event of a catastrophic event. And we work with municipalities across the state, the city of Savannah.
Well, now, we were speaking earlier, and you said if a hurricane was to hit Savannah, it would be prepared. Tell me why.
Well, Savannah is doing a great job with a lot of emergency response associations in preparing for a large loss this year. A catastrophic loss. So they are very integrated and they work together very well with the city and the county in the event of a large catastrophic event this year. So
we've all experienced extreme weather in the past few years. So tell me why it's important for cities to have a plan to meet disaster.
Well, if you don't have a plan and you have a catastrophic event, you have chaos. And so our job is to help control chaos. So pre-planning is key. And you have to have a plan before the event happens. Once the event happens, now you're just doing the catch-up and the follow-up, and you're trying to unravel what's happened. So emergency planning is critical, and I think the city of Savannah and, again, the county is doing a great job.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. Tell us how to get in touch with you if you're not here at the exhibit hall.
Well, I'm Barry Hawkins. I've been doing emergency planning and emergency response for about 30 years. You can reach me at just Google Polygon. We are an international company, so just Google us and they will direct you to me. I'm out of Atlanta, and so you can reach me anytime.
All right, thank you. Make sure you come and see Barry, and we're going to send it back to Amy and Lou.
And welcome back to Live in the Hall. I'm Amy Henderson with Lou Comer from GMA. And we're joined by Dave McCleary, who's with the Rotarian group that is, you guys are really pushing to end the problem of human trafficking. And I should say that GMA, at our last Legislative Policy Council, this was one of the issues that that group looked at and really wants to raise awareness of the issue and hopefully bring some pressure on to make changes that will help stop this. Dave, tell us how you got involved in this movement.
Sure, and I appreciate GMA having us here. We really appreciate the hospitality. But 2012, I was a volunteer at a conference called Passion Conference in downtown Atlanta. And it was a conference for youth, and the entire thing was focused on the issue of human trafficking. And to be honest with you, I didn't think it happened in my city. But after I heard the stories of the girls being trafficked, not just in India, but in Atlanta and in surrounding areas in Georgia, I met a girl named Melissa through that process and asked her to come speak at part of a panel at our Rotary Club. And she told her story about being trafficked in downtown Atlanta, dropped out of high school from Roswell High School, and was offered a modeling job, took it, and then hooked on drugs and trafficked for 2 years in downtown Atlanta. And finally, she was restored and got out of it. But after the meeting, one of our members came up and gave Melissa a big hug. I said, "How'd you know Melissa?" He said, "She used to babysit my kids when she was 12.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't somebody else's problem. And we felt with Rotary, with 1.4 million Rotarians around the world and 34,000 clubs, we're the perfect organization to take this issue on and work with other great organizations like the National Center for Missing and Explored Children, Shared Hope International, and the Polaris Project to create an awareness campaign, education, and training, not just in Georgia, but around the world.
And that's so important what you said, about the raising awareness and that not realizing that it happens where you live. I mean, I think, we were talking before we went on about what is human trafficking, what does it look like? And we were saying, in our heads, sometimes it's people coming from another country being coerced into the sex trade or as domestic servants, but that's not actually the case.
That's correct. We see it, girls in our own communities. We've to give you an example, in Seattle, Washington, there's a girl named Brianna that was rescued by Shared Hope International. She was a cheerleader, straight-A student, and was recruited by a star football player.
Wow.
Ended up luring her into the strip industry and almost was trafficked, but because someone heard the story and was aware of what was going on with human trafficking, they were able to save her before she was actually trafficked.
Yeah, the girl you just spoke of, you said she was solicited by a football player. Was this like a professional football player or someone in her high school that was a football player? How does that
Somebody in her high
happen?
school, actually, a football player, was paid to recruit her for another man and ended up getting involved with a pimp in Vancouver, Washington, and was almost sold before her parents were able to intervene and realize what's happened. And this was a girl that was a straight-A student.
Right. So it's not just it's not a particular socioeconomic issue. This is all levels of society where this is.
That's exactly right. And a lot of times when we speak to groups, they ask, what are the signs?
Yeah. What can you look for?
Sometimes it's older boyfriend. Sometimes all of a sudden the girl may end up with a lot of expensive jewelry that she couldn't afford to buy. But also, do they have access to a computer? Well, what child doesn't have access to your phone is a computer?
Right, exactly.
So all children are at risk, and I'll tell you that I heard an assistant DA speak at a conference I was at from Fulton County, and she deals with human trafficking for Fulton County, and her child was lured out of the house, and they called her before anything happened. But she said, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
Right, right.
So it's pretty commonplace then. Even, a DA's child, of course, it's like being the preacher's kid.
Yeah.
You don't, not always the best kid, but that's really troubling that you could in your own community
Right.
have people that you.
And
that
I think
this could happen.
one thing we as an organization have talked about wanting to do is to help raise the awareness with police officers in particular, because they may be the ones that come into contact with these girls. And I guess a GBI report recently, a survey asking police officers how much of a problem is human trafficking, and it's kind of surprising to see a lot of them didn't see it as an issue. Do you think that's because they're callous, or is it just this awareness issue?
It's mainly awareness and the fact they're overwhelmed. I'll give you a quick example. I was down in Sarasota with Wellspring Living on their book tour. I was talking about what Rotary could do in the community base, and they were training police officers, and there was a policeman that came to the event, didn't want to be there, and said, I don't know why you have me here because this doesn't happen. After the training, he said, I had 4 cases last week and didn't realize it. And one thing that we're excited about, I'm on the governor's task force, and I was talking to them and telling them I was coming down here this weekend, and they would love Rotary to facilitate, not do the training, but facilitate training for all the cities across Georgia. Because what's exciting is you all could be the first organization in the entire United States to do this, and it could be a model. And think about the amount of children that will be saved from doing that training.
Well, and I think one of the great things is that, with city officials being so close, having such great connections to groups within the community and neighborhood associations to help neighborhoods think about, wait, is that some strange behavior going on in this house, down the street or whatever, to raise the awareness to hopefully help some of these girls.
That's right. And we were up at Forsyth with the GBI, and they did a community event. And the police, they have community outreach police officers that go into the community. And once we told him and explained about the issue of human trafficking, when he goes to these community neighborhood watch groups, he's talking to them about it.
Yeah.
But he's also talking about pedophiles. How many pedophiles live in the neighborhood?
And
So
parents
it's all about child
worry
safety.
about this a lot. I mean, there's a lot of the public lists out there to, so you can keep an eye on, people who've been convicted of this. But, there's the first time. And those folks aren't on the list.
Yeah. And also, it sounds like from a parent perspective, if you see your child, a girl dating someone older, or like you said, getting expensive jewelry.
Because they're using that, I think you said, to lure them.
That's correct.
They kind of seduce them with
Exactly.
these gifts and this great life I can give you, and then it.
Yeah, so parents really need to be paying attention to what their children are doing.
That's right.
And exposed to.
And unfortunately, with the computer the way it is, they don't have to leave the house to be lured. And
Yes.
so once they do go out, if they've given somebody their name and address, And sometimes the boy will treat them, middle school, I've got 2 girls, and that's part of the reason I started doing this.
Right.
I can't imagine anything like this happening to them, but there's a lot of pressures for middle school girls nowadays, and so that awareness piece is huge no matter where you come from.
And as a mother of 3 girls, I'm absolutely appalled by the idea of these. I mean, I don't think you have to be a mother of 3 girls to be appalled by the whole idea, but it really hits home for me. Fortunately, my girls are older now, but I think, gosh, how would I have, as a parent, when they were, say, in middle school, talk to them about this issue? I mean, it wasn't even something on my radar when they were that age. I mean, do you guys have tips for parents talking to children about this?
We do. We work with, I mentioned earlier, we work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have a whole education program for younger children on child safety, internet safety. They have tips for parents on how to talk to them. And then Shared Hope International is another group that we work with, that we have a training program that we've piloted in 2 high schools, Roswell and Peachtree City, that talks about the issues and the signs and the dangers of trafficking. And it's not sexual, it talks about the issue, and it tells Brianna's story, the one I mentioned earlier, and another girl's story of how you can be lured into this industry. So starting in high school at the earliest ages is a huge, and it can never be too early.
So let's just say you suspect, as I'm a homeowner, and I suspect that there's something going on. I see some activity on my street, the family or whatever, where I'm like, wait, that's not right. What are things that I could do?
Well, there's several things, but there's a hotline now, a 188 number to the Polaris Project, and I'll give it to you in just a little bit. But what you can do is call that number, and in last year, House Bill 141 passed the legislature, which mandates the posting of the helpline in bars, strip clubs, hotels, restaurants, train stations, truck stops.
Places that girls who have been lured into this or are victims of the human trafficking may actually be able to see those signs.
That's correct, and since we're here with the cities, there's 2 really great things the cities could do. Right now, House Bill 141 is a voluntary posting, but if you're warned, you get a $5,000 fine. But what the cities could do is make it part of code enforcement and send it out with their license. That way it's a willful violation, and they automatically get the $5,000 fine. And the second thing, Johns Creek is a model city for an ordinance against massage parlors and adult entertainment, and the governor's task force is looking at that model to use across the state and eventually across.
So that may be available to cities soon too.
Their goal is to pass it first on the 14th of July in the city council meeting. And once they do, the governor's task force will release it to the cities, and hopefully we'll get a grant that can go out and train prosecutors across the state on that ordinance. But it would be a big impact to this industry. And just so you know, there's an article that came out about 4 months ago that Atlanta has a $290 million adult business here in this city.
It's shameful. It
really
is, and we appreciate what what the Rotarians are doing, what you're doing, and we look forward to, as an organization, what we can do to bring an end to this. So
Well,
thank you very much.
Thanks for having us here. It's
Thanks.
been a great time. Thank you.
Aileen, back to you.
Hi, Aileen again. I'm live from the exhibit hall at the GMA annual convention, and I'm standing here with Carla Caraway with Precision Planning. Carla, you've been coming to the GMA convention quite a while.
I think this is probably my 15th year coming. Precision Planning's been coming for a number of years. We're engineers and architects and do work for lots of cities across Georgia, so it's fun to be here and see everybody.
So I know you've recently completed some great projects in some of our cities. Tell us about that.
Yes, we just recently completed a City Hall in Sugar Hill. We've got some pictures of it on our exhibit. It's a great, beautiful building. Their amphitheater in the back and open space. And we're also just starting a project with the City of Lilburn, City Hall and Library, and also do some work for the City of Lawrenceville and the City of Grayson. So we work with a lot of cities in the North area.
So, the theme of our convention is excellence by design. So tell me how important design is to making sure you have a great, lasting city building.
Well, it's very important, and it's important to have great council members and mayors that understand they need firms like ours to go together and design what's great. It's for sustaining design, for sustaining buildings and infrastructure for the long haul. So it's very important.
All right. come and see Carla Caraway here at Precision Planning. She's right here in the front. And now I'm going to step over here and talk to this guy a lot of you know, Mike Beatty. He is the president and CEO of the Great Promise Partnership. Tell us about that.
Well, Aileen, it's been exciting you're not going to let me hold okay. It's been great to come down here for the last 10 years as DCA commissioner, but really excited about this program. We have some tremendous young people that through no fault of their own maybe got a little bit behind, but we're working with them, working with City Hall, working with the school systems to really give them opportunities to go to work, stay in school, graduate, go to the military, go to college, or go to work full time. And we're in 34 different communities. I hope everyone will come by our booth over there. We're excited about expanding, and it's an honor to be here at GMA.
Tell me about, I know you just had a class that graduated, and you had a class that graduated last year. Tell me about some of the success stories you have.
Well, we had over 101 young people last year, and 89 graduated on time. The other folks graduated this year. We did not lose one person, so it's
100%.
100%. Very successful program, patterned after the Southwire 12 for Life program, and we're excited about being in different communities throughout the state.
Tell me more about, you bring cities and school boards together. That's so important these days.
Well, just recently at Jefferson City, I know we have the mayor and the council here. We met with the school board, the city council, the business community, really working together to train our workforce. These are young people who will stay in that community, who will work for the companies, graduate, and really make a difference. So we're excited about City Hall and also county governments working together to help these young people.
Thank you so much for being here, Mike Beatty. Go see Mike Beatty. Talk to him about his program. I'm sure it can help your city. And now I'm going to send it back to Lou and Amy.
Thank you, Aileen. We're back here live in the hall. Amy and Lou. We're getting more casual as the day wears on. And the wine is flowing somewhere.
Just not to us.
Yeah, unfortunately. That'll be our turn next. We are joined by a very special guest who helps make this exhibit hall happen, and it's Michael, I'm going to try to say it, Cavacles.
Cavacles, correct.
Yay. With Consolidated Pipe, and you guys are sponsoring the exhibit hall this year, and first of all, thank you for that. We appreciate it. And tell us a little bit about Consolidated Pipe.
Consolidated Pipe and Supply is a supply company for water, gas, and sewer utilities here in the state of Georgia. We have approximately 50 branches over 20 states. Our home base is Birmingham, Alabama. We have 8 locations in the state of Georgia.
So you make all different kinds of sizes of pipe?
We supply all different sizes and types and kinds of pipe and water meters, fire hydrants is the most visible thing that you would see.
Yeah, most of your product is underground, it sounds
Absolutely.
like. It's like
Absolutely.
with Consolidated Pipe, what you see is only the tip of the iceberg.
Correct.
I've come up with a new slogan for them. It's an important thing. I was talking to a friend of mine who is an editor of a paper here in Georgia, a small city, and he was telling me that the city had been digging up some pipe, and it was wood pipe from when the city was first, founded. It was back from the 1800s. So thank you for giving us better pipe.
A little bit better than wood pipe these days.
What is the most common type of pipe going on these days?
Well, there's a lot of pipe. Plastic pipe, PVC, ductile iron pipe. One of the pipelines that we have would be HDPE pipe, which is high density polyethylene pipe, and we do a lot of special fittings and that type of thing. Very popular in the gas industry and even starting to become more popular in the water industry as well. So.
Tell us why you like to come to the GMA exhibit hall, what it does
and
for your business.
How long have you been coming?
We've been coming to GMA since about 2002.
Okay.
And, we've been doing it for the last 12, 13 years now, and we find the benefits. We work closely with a lot of the cities. We don't get a lot of chances to see some of the people that are here, the council people and the mayors and that type of thing. We work a lot with the directors of the different departments.
Right, so they know you very well.
Absolutely.
Whereas the people who are making the decisions about, what kind of
awarding
pipe we're going to go.
contracts and that type of thing, absolutely. And we want them to know who we are and that we, quite frankly, we appreciate the opportunity to do business with the cities. And they're very important to us as a company. Without them, our business really isn't possible. So.
Right. Well, we appreciate what you guys are doing here. We appreciate you being a part of this convention for as long as you have. It's we always say GMA is like a family, and that's not just about the city officials. It's also about our exhibitors and our vendors. It's like a big family reunion every year, and it's nice to see recurring.
It is. It's good to see people. We get a chance to visit with people that, like I said, we don't normally get to, and for some other people to get to know us, that maybe we've recently gotten a contract with the city and they come by, they recognize the name, and it gives us
5 minutes until the drawing for door prize.
Okay, well, the door prize drawing is about to take place, and that's big business here. So we want to say thank you again. Thank you for being with us here today, and we really appreciate it, and hope it's a good show for you again this year.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Hi, it's Aileen, live from the exhibit hall at the GMA Annual Convention. I'm standing here with Cindy Bogacki from Point and Play. And Cindy, you're a first-timer here at the GMA Convention.
Yes, I am. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for allowing vendors like myself to participate.
And so what service do you offer cities?
We offer credit card processing services. So what we end up doing is helping finance provide better services to the citizens in their area, as well as make it easier on the back end in terms of reconciliation. So we take all credit card types. Some of the channels that we take credit cards through are web, counter, phone, kiosk, and we even have a really cool tablet device now. So when field reps are out in the field going to turn utilities off, they have the ability to take a payment before turning that utility off. And it's an additional service that cities can provide this citizen if they want to.
Well, thank you. And how can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me by reaching out to GMA, asking for Point and Pay information. You can also find us at pointandpay.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay. All right. On to the next vendor. I'm standing here with Felipe Barganier, and he's with Colonial Life Insurance. So tell me more about the programs that you offer cities.
Well, one of the things that we do is we offer dependent verification and several cost-saving strategies that we've helped many cities across the country save hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions in the case of the city of Dallas, Texas, and a couple other cities. Basically just trying to help municipalities get back in the black.
So do you offer life insurance or workers' comp? Tell me more about the specific programs that you offer.
Well, some of the programs we offer are life insurance, disability, hospital confinement programs, cancer policies, and we're also introducing, for the first time here, where we're able to offer each employee scholarships on their children, grandchildren, and nieces and nephews at no cost to the employer or the employee.
Well, that sounds super. And tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
Well, you can get in contact with me by calling 678-887-8511. My name is Felipe Barganier, and I'm the public sector manager here in Georgia. One of my clients is the Department of Corrections, 13,000 employees. Also, the Department of Juvenile Justice, Child Support Services, DFACS. We have several other counties that we do in Georgia as well.
You have a website?
Yes, www.coloniallife.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Back to you, Amy and Lou.
And welcome back. We are live in the hall at the GMA Annual Convention. This has been the first day of our show, and we'll be back again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for another hour and a half. Lou, who do we have coming up tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I think we are going to talk a little bit about our Georgia Initiative for Community Housing.
That's a really popular program in the
We're
state.
going to talk about some changes to the training program for elected officials, and we're going to talk about our Hometown Connection program, I believe. And there's policy committee meetings tomorrow.
That's right. For folks who are here for the convention, don't forget policy committee meetings in the morning and then in the afternoon as well. We also have Ron Sims, our keynote speaker, tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and also the Parade of Flags tomorrow.
You don't want to miss that. That's always a very, very popular thing. And also coming up right now is the door prize. So we're going to go for now, and we'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m.